Today we're going to show you step-by-step how to put together an amazing price to performance gaming PC.
For $600, we're building an awesome gaming PC, and again, we're going to show you step-by-step how to build it so you can build it at home, or you have a chance to win one of these. Stay tuned after a word from today's sponsor.
Listen, we might be giving away the PC from today's video, but we all know the odds of winning are going to be low. If you're in the market for a new gaming PC though, you need to check out today's sponsor, Jawa.gg, with some of the best deals on the market. Jawa is an individually created group of verified sellers that are selling components and even full builds at some of the best prices on the internet. Say goodbye to haggling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace for mid deals on used systems. You can use Jawa.gg to filter through tons of listings and find the perfect PC for your use case with ease. And if you're looking to offload an old graphics card, Jawa also purchases GPUs directly from customers to make it the easiest possible solution for selling a GPU. Tons of gamers are selling their old parts and peripherals at insane prices over at Jawa.gg. So now is the best time to buy. And if you're someone who's also upgraded recently, selling your old PC is super easy and will help you make some money back. If you're interested in joining the best marketplace to sell and buy gaming gear, check out Jawa.gg today, or you can head over to sell.jawa.gg/GPU to get started on selling your GPU today. Big thanks to Jawa for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So to go over the parts, guys, we have here the i3-12100F. This is a 4-core, 8-thread processor, and the reason why I decided to go with this is because you have a really good upgrade path with it, and on top of that, you have the Gen 4 and Gen 5 support, which is going to be really important for our graphics card to run at its full bandwidth. And it does come with the stock cooler that is more than adequate for just an i3, and we'll show you how to install it as well. This is one of my favorite motherboards right now, the ASRock B660M Pro RS. This is a really awesome looking board that even has some hints of RGB. It's kind of a black and white color scheme. We have 4 RAM slots and 2 4-pins for the CPU, allowing a really good upgrade path to something like an i7 in the future. Now, we did decide to save a little money. We got some plain black RAM. It is 16 gigs at only 3000 megahertz. You could opt for 3600. Heck, you could even opt for a DDR5 board and DDR5 RAM, but we're showing you how to do this at a really good budget. And speaking of budget, guys, this right here, I wanted to give it a try. This is a Fanxiang, I believe it's pronounced, 512 gig NVMe SSD. It is just Gen 3 because I didn't want to spend the Gen 4 pricing and have a kind of weird price percent for this build. I'm trying to just go for the absolute best bang for buck, but this seemed to have pretty good speed, and it's kind of on the old SSD pricing scheme, so you're not paying insane prices for this thing. We'll leave a link in the description down below though if you don't trust a brand like this and you want something like a WD or Crucial drive.
Now for the graphics card, we have a RX 6600 from XFX. Now we do recommend you buy the power color version if you want to reach the $600 budget we aim for in this video. This is the one we were able to get in time to film this video, but if you want to spend $10 more, you can get this card and get a much better looking card in our opinion. But if you want to stick to that $600 budget, get the power color version. But the RX 6600 is one of our favorite GPUs for 1080p and entry-level 1440p gaming, and we're going to show you how powerful it is during the benchmarks. Now this right here is actually a meta power supply. This is the MSI Mag A550BN 550 watt 80 plus Bron power supply that you can buy on Amazon today. Very well rated and reliable, and it's a quality unit that you can use in pretty much any PC build you want, but it's gonna be great for this PC with room for upgrades in the future. And for the case, this right here is the DIYPC Q8, and Mr. Bones approves, as you can see. But really, it's just a budget case from DIYPC. Very easy to build in, nothing too crazy. You got one RGB fan in the back and this RGB like design up front. So very basic, but it is a solid case that'll work for the budget. And yeah, we're gonna show you guys how to build this PC step by step. We're gonna show you how to install the CPU, motherboard, RAM into the, well, motherboard, get it ready to go. And then from there, we'll show you how to put the power supply in the case, put everything together, and have an awesome gaming PC for $600. Let's not waste any more time and show you how to set up the motherboard.
All right, guys, so we got all of our parts laid out here to put together the motherboard. So you're gonna open up the motherboard box and you're gonna put it on top of the box. It's a great building surface, and this is what comes with the motherboard. You get some M.2 screws along with M.2 riser, SATA cables, which we won't need, and then the I/O shield, very important. Matt will show you how to install that later, but let's go ahead and start with the CPU, my favorite step. So the first thing we're gonna do is undo this latch. So you basically just push down, come over to the side, and you're gonna pull this open. So there's a lot of exposed pins there that are very dangerous. You don't wanna touch those because your motherboard will no longer work, and then Amazon will send it to us. So here's our i3-12100, and there's honestly a couple ways you can line this up. I usually look at the little guides here, but an even better way to just really make sure, there's a tiny little arrow on all CPUs, and this includes Ryzen and Intel, that'll line up with an arrow on your socket. So there and there, so we know we have this the right way. Another thing that you don't need to do is take that plastic clip off, because you'll see why in a second. It's really satisfying. I like to just drop it into place. If you get it slightly off, just nudge it. So check this out. Oh, so you're gonna do that. just like that. And then yeah, this should pop off on its own. It'll even tell you not to remove it. That's kind of how you know you're getting the CPU installed correctly, but it's that easy. Stock cooler, guys. Not too hard to install these, but it is hard to install them correctly. But if you follow along, you'll be able to get it just fine. So first thing you want to make sure is that all of these are turned clockwise. So just like that. So we're good here, cool. That is the locking position. If you have them turned to the left, it's not gonna lock the cooler down and it could fall off at some point. So you got thermal paste pre-applied, and what I'm gonna do, let's figure out where our fan header is. I'm just gonna run this cable kind of underneath like this, just make sure it's not going underneath the CPU. It'll just help us with cable management in the long run. Every little bit of cable management counts. And then we're just gonna kind of let it sit in the holes here. And so at this point, I like to pick up my motherboard, opposing corners, and it does take a lot of force. You're gonna push down, and yes, the board's gonna flex a little bit, don't worry. All right, here we go, this next side. And you should get very nice audible clicks. Now, one thing you can do to check if they're installed right is you notice how these are nice and solid, but then look at this one over here. So I actually didn't get one seated all the way. So we're gonna try one more time. Oh my gosh, it's one of these. There we go. Yeah, sometimes you really gotta push in these things, and you should be able to, like, I mean, hey, I'm trusting the process, but you should be able to fully hold your board. You can also check the backs and make sure that all of the push pins in the middle are pushed through so it spreads these risers to make sure that it's actually in all the way. So now we're gonna plug in our CPU fan header. See how we tucked it underneath there, it makes it a little cleaner. So we just use the CPU fan 1, and as you can see, you also get one for the water pump if you have a liquid cooler. And so then we can just kind of tuck this here. And now that brings us to the RAM. So for the RAM, we only have 2 sticks. And as you can see, I don't know if Jonah can zoom in on this. First is bank 1 and bank 2, or sorry, bank 1 and bank 3. So you're basically gonna skip the middle slot. So that's gonna look like this. You wanna make sure that you have the RAM space like this so that it actually runs in dual channel. So now with the RAM, all you need to do is line this notch up with the notch on the actual memory lane. So just like that. And now this one doesn't have a double latch system. It has a fixed latch and then a latch that swings out. So what I like to do is push a little bit harder on the fixed side, because if you get the one that's not fixed down first, you're gonna have trouble getting it in. Just like that. I'll go ahead and do that one more time. Get a different angle for Jonah. All right, you ready? Here we go. Fixed side first, or at the same time, just like that. And yeah, the latches should close on their own. If you have to guide the latches with your finger, that means this probably not seated all the way and your RAM's not gonna work. Last step of the motherboard, see how easy this has been so far? And I actually like, this never happens, but they actually include a little screwdriver with our Fanxiang drive. Oh, we even get an M.2 screw, which, I mean, really, let's see if we even need it. Let's go ahead and take our heatsink off, because we're gonna use the top slot on this board. And it is really, oh my God, this screwdriver is so small. But I'm gonna trust the process. So we just have 2, these are PH1 by the way, if you happen to get an SSD that doesn't have this little screwdriver, PH1 Phillips. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and peel this off. This will help our SSD run a little bit cooler, which realistically, Gen 3, not gonna run very hot, but might as well get our good temps. And as you can see, we're not even gonna need a riser, because when we install this SSD just like this, and yes, the angle is normal, you then push down, and it's actually going to use the M.2 cover to hold it in place. So what I like to do is you're gonna leave it up like that, line this side up first, make sure you get it as straight as possible with that hole in the back, just like that. That way your SSD is actually being held in place properly. And I'm just kind of holding the cover down with one finger just to make sure that you know, our M.2 doesn't escape us or anything. And then you wanna make sure you kind of do even pressure on these screws, because if you screw one in all the way, the SSD is gonna be kind of held in at an angle. Here, we get that one down all the way. And yeah, this is all you need as far as pressure goes. I know some people just love to over torque things, but I promise these are not just gonna fly out of your computer randomly. You don't need to have them super tight. So now we have a completed motherboard. We got our M.2, our RAM, and our i3 underneath a stock cooler. Pretty nice looking board so far. I'm gonna go ahead and hand this to Matt now, who's gonna show you how to install the M.2 power supply and then get our case ready to go.
All right guys, now it's time to install the power supply in the case. And yeah, we don't need this right now, so. This power supply right here is the MSI Mag A550BN, which we talked about at the beginning of this video. Very solid power supply, but one thing to mention, it is a non-modular power supply, meaning it has all the cables pre-installed, and we're gonna do a little cable management with that, but normally MSI is not too bad about giving us a bunch of extra cables where it's gonna be a cable management nightmare. We'll go ahead and take this out real quick. And yeah, as you can see, it's a nice power supply. We're gonna do this twist tie right here so we get access to our cables, and then we're gonna install the power supply in the case, which is very straightforward. But we're going to take the case, we're gonna take off the back panel by removing these two screws right here. Sometimes they may need a screwdriver, but as you can see right here, they're actually operating as thumb screws like they're supposed to. They didn't use a really crazy drill to, you know, wrench this down too hard. So we'll go ahead and undo those. Take off the side panel. I'm not gonna throw that. We wanna make sure that stays in good condition. We're gonna put the screws back in so we don't lose them. Okay, and now we're going to install the power supply, but we do need to make sure we get everything out of the case that we need to so it's, well, not in the way of the power supply. So we're gonna take all these cables out, which have the RGB and all the front panel stuff, which we'll get to later when we install the motherboard. We're gonna go ahead and take our power supply, and we're gonna go fan side facing down, because if you see right here, the power supply gets ventilation from the bottom right here. So again, don't put your PC on carpet if you want your power supply to survive and live a happy life. Go ahead and take the power supply, and we're gonna flip it like so. So it's sliding in like this. And you'll see on Jonah's point of view where the screw holes line up. Are my screw holes lined up?
Nope.
How about now?
You gotta lift it up a little bit.
Oh, we gotta lift it up a little bit. How about now?
Yep.
There you go. So there should be 4 screw holes that you can screw in. I'm gonna let go. It's gonna like go away, but you'll see where it is. And with that power supply, by the way, I forgot to mention, it does come with the 4 screws you need. These are coarse threaded screws or power supply screws. Not all power supply screws, not all coarse threaded screws are power supply screws, but either way, they will work. And there they are right there. We're going to take our screwdriver. But yeah, we're gonna switch to good old PH2. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Need to be screwed in. We're gonna go and start up here. All right, guys, our power supply is now installed and we're good to go. Before we put in our IO shield and get the motherboard installed, we're gonna go ahead and take this screw bag out. That's right here, that's been a little twist tied, because our screw bag is gonna have all the screws we need to install our motherboard into the case. And also I'm seeing something really freaky that this case is doing. Do you see what's happening, Jonah? For some reason, the RGB for the fan is going behind the motherboard like that. I don't really know why. So we are gonna have to take, let me show you guys. The way they set it up, you are gonna have to unplug something, but don't be scared, it'll be really easy to plug back in. This cable right here, we're gonna have to unplug it and feed it up through this cutout right here. Makes it a lot easier, trust me, it'll save you a lot of time, but the fan is in the right place. We don't have to flip the fan. We'll go ahead and plug that right back in. It'll click right back into place, and we'll deal with that later. But now we gotta get our IO shield installed, and the IO shield is the shield that protects the IO on the motherboard, and this one, as you can see, does not come with one pre-installed. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is line it up like so you can see how this is gonna happen when it gets installed into the case. And normally the key is, you see these audio ports right here? These are always gonna be on the bottom. So we're gonna take the IO shield, rotate it to where, again, those audio ports are on the bottom. And we're gonna go ahead and push it in. Now, it may look like this is gonna be easy for me, or it may be hard this time, but it can be kind of difficult to push it in. You just gotta make sure you push in all the corners, make sure it's nice and secure. Sometimes you can fiddle around with this for a long time, but as you can see, looks like all 4 corners are pushed in, and it's nice and secure, and we're good to go with the IO shield. Now we gotta install the motherboard. I'm gonna lower the table real quick for Jonah. So we're gonna rotate the case like so, and we're gonna check for extra standoffs, which, if you guys don't know what standoffs are, these little things right here in the case. Sometimes there's extra standoffs that, if they're not in the right spot, and I already think I see one that's wrong, if they're not in the right spot, will short out the back of your motherboard. And as you can see right here, I believe this one right here is gonna be a problem. Because if you look at the motherboard, just by looking at it, the spacing between this is a bit different. But we'll see, maybe I'm wrong. We'll go ahead and place it in real quick. And, oh wow, look. Where's that extra standoff? It's not there. It's right there touching the back of the motherboard. So we gotta take this back out. Now we did finally find the thing that you should properly use to take these standoffs off, but we'll go ahead and show you guys both methods because you may not have this tool at home, pair of pliers. But then they also, if you build a lot of PCs, they're good to have. Oh God, we just like threw these in here, by the way. These little tools right here that are basically standoff remover tools, what we'll call it, where you basically put it on the bit of your screwdriver, and then it will go over top the standoff and allow you to unscrew it very easily. Now I'm gonna show you the other way with some pliers, which it should be pretty obvious. You're basically just gonna put the pliers on the standoff and you're gonna twist it. And I always do this. I think I can use my strong fingers after just one twist, but we're not there yet. So we just do twist and twist and twist. You get the idea. So we're gonna take it off, and then it should actually almost, it'll hold on. Then we're gonna go straight down to the other one because it needs to be a little bit lower. It's so much quicker. If you get one of these in a build, hang on to it because it's very useful, very, very useful. Okay, now we got that extra standoff out of the way. Everything else should be good to go. We're gonna go and take our motherboard, hold it by the CPU cooler like we did before. As long as you put the CPU cooler on properly, it will hold on. If not, sorry, that sucks. So we're gonna take the motherboard, and we're gonna make sure we go and not drop it. And make sure we go underneath this fan cable. We don't wanna pinch that cable. And we want to make sure everything on the IO comes out, which I'm looking right now and it's looking good. And this standoff right here in the middle of the board is raised a bit to where it should hold the motherboard in a little bit. Is that raised? Actually, I don't think it's raised. Never mind, it's not raised. As you can see, all the standoffs are lining up. We got that one right there, that one right there, the two over there, one up here in this corner, one hidden behind that VRM, and we're good to go. If you want to and you have a standoff tool remover or adder, you can use that to add some extra standoffs for these two screw holes right here, but in all honesty, with the amount of screws we're putting in this thing, it doesn't really matter, but if you want your build to be perfect, you can do that. So we're gonna go ahead and take my screwdriver and the screws that came with the case, which we sat down right here, and pull out some motherboard screws and screw in the motherboard. We'll show you the ones you need and the ones you don't. So as I mentioned, here are the extra standoffs, by the way, if you want to use those, they do come with them. More power supply screws, the ones that we use for the power supply. And then also the motherboard screw. So there's the motherboard screw, it's fine thread. You can flip it around and show the head of it too. There you go. Well, look at the comparison. That build mat is so useful. You know, you can buy one today at pcbros.tech. But we're gonna go and take our motherboard screws, and as I showed you, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws we need to screw in, and we're gonna take them on our screwdriver and go to town. We'll do this one right here. Again, once you feel a little bit of resistance, just stop. That's it. Your motherboard is screwed in and good to go. We'll go ahead and lift it up, make sure it doesn't fall out. Ah, just kidding, it didn't fall out. But now we're at the point now where it might seem a little bit scary. You gotta plug in all these cables. I mean, look at all these cables. There's so many of them, but I promise you guys, it's gonna be very straightforward. We're gonna bring Jackson back over here. We're gonna plug this thing up and then we'll be ready to game. All right, so we did figure out before we went to the cable management section that there was a cable that was ran in a way that we don't really like. As you can see, there is an RGB panel that's up front that this cable they ran through here looks kind of ugly in my opinion. So we're gonna do the same thing we did with the fan and we're gonna have to unplug it real quick. So go ahead and unplug it. And we're going to feed this up through here where all the other cables are going. That's the best rule of cable management is run your cables in the same direction. It makes it much easier to manage them and make them look nicer. We're gonna feed everything back through here. We're gonna pull it through like so. And then we're going to take it and plug it right back in. Now let's plug up the rest of the cables.
All right, guys, it's time for everyone's favorite part, the cable management. And we're gonna start off with the easiest stuff, the power supply items. So this right here is your main power, the 24 pin, or often called the 20+4 pin. I'm gonna go ahead and feed it through here so that it's right next to where Matt needs to plug it in.
And look at it right there, 24 pin. We're gonna plug it up right here. Very straightforward. Flip her around like so, push in until we hear a click. Boom, 24 pin is installed.
Next up, the second most important thing, the CPU power, which is called the 4+4 or 8 pin. And make sure you don't get that mixed up with the PCIe. It'll actually even say CPU on the side if you buy the same power supply as us, but I'm gonna feed this right through up top here.
And it's gonna be hard to see when I put my hand up here, but this is where the CPU power is gonna plug into. And click, and boom, your CPU power is plugged in and good to go.
So next up is we're gonna go ahead and give Matt the PCIe, which is typically a 6+2 pin or also called an 8 pin. And this one will say PCIe on the side with this power supply. Depending on what your graphics card needs, you're gonna have two of these attached to the same one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give Matt both. We're not gonna be plugging this one in just yet though. This is more of just a preemptive measure so we don't have to go back and do it later.
And there it is, coming right out like so. And we're just gonna leave it sitting right there for now.
So at this point, you have two extra cables coming off your power supply, Molex and SATA. We're not gonna need Molex at all. That's the OG connector, we don't need it. We are gonna need SATA to power our fans, which is right here. So we're gonna go ahead and take that. It can only go in one way. And boom, so look at that, it's plugged in. We got our SATA good to go. So now we can go ahead and basically take our extra cables and just go ahead and get them down here. This will make our cable management life a lot easier because I know for a lot of people it's very intimidating. So now all I need to do is give Matt all of the stuff for the case, which is this bundle right here. So the first connector we're going to do is this really large USB 3 connector. They typically always look like this on pretty much every case. So we're going to go ahead and take that and we'll put it right below the 24 pin.
As you can see, USB 3 goes right here. Not this one, this one. The big one for the big one. Push, click, boom, installed.
Next step is going to be the USB 2.0 connector. It'll actually say USB 2. It'll be missing a pin towards the very edge. So we're gonna go ahead and take that and put it through the same spot that we put our PCIe power.
As you see, there are two options for USB 2. We got this one right here and this one right here. We're gonna do one that's closest to the cutout, line up the missing pin with the header and push in and boom, you're good to go.
Next up is the HD audio. It looks very similar to USB 2, but it is missing a pin a little bit closer to the middle of the pin out. So we're gonna go ahead and take that. That's usually always going to be right above the power supply.
As you can see, it's coming right out, and the HD audio is in the far left corner where it's labeled HD audio. Line it up, push it in, and boom, HD audio is now installed.
And now for the last thing to actually plug in before we get to cable management, our front panel headers. So as you can see, you got a few things. You got hard drive LED power, reset, and power switch. So we're gonna go ahead and put that right through the same spot we put a few things through now.
Yep, same spot right there. As you can see, the front panel is all the way on the far right, and there'll be a diagram on screen, but basically, from the bottom left, we're gonna do hard drive LED, positive and negative, and then above that, the power LED, positive and negative, and to the right of the power LED, we'll have the power switch, and below that, the reset switch. And as you can see, we have the front panel installed and ready to go. All right, guys, next up, we're going to install our graphics card. And yes, I did not throw it on the ground just earlier. It's fine, look at it, it's a good graphics card. So we're gonna take the graphics card and we're going to install it in the topmost PCI slot right here. So first thing we need to do is we need to take off this cover on the back, which, as you can tell from the inside, is just this little push connector that you'll push, and boom, it pops right off. It's actually pretty convenient for a budget case. And we're gonna remove, but we'll verify, the two PCI covers that are on the top. So we're gonna line up and make sure, but we need to remove these two covers. It should be pretty easy to do. Push them out, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. The next one, push it out, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. This one right here doesn't wanna, there we go. And then we're gonna take our graphics card, make sure this PCI slot has the locking mechanism pushed down so it's ready to receive our graphics card. And then we're gonna go ahead and line it up and push firmly until you hear a click. And now we're gonna go ahead and take our coarse threaded power supply screws, the same screws you see right here, the same screws that we use for our power supply, and screw in these two spots right here. Take this cover. It might come off like mine just did. All right, we're gonna push this cover back in, and it should click into place. Last thing we need to do is power the GPU. We're gonna take the GPU power that Jackson fed through earlier. As you can see right here, here's our 8-pin. We're gonna go ahead and push this extra 2 pins up here to turn it into an 8-pin. And then we're gonna go ahead and plug it in right here. You might have to like pinch the cable to make it work, but once you do, pinch it in, push, click, you're good to go. They have this extra cable right here, which we'll take a zip tie here in a minute and zip tie it next to the cable that's coming from the back of the case. We're really just gonna push this out of the way, and then we'll clean it up a little bit during the cable management portion. Anyway, I'll show you guys what it looks like anyways. Let me get a zip tie and pinch the cable together, wrap this around like so, to make this look a little nicer. I'm gonna take some snips to snip that off. We'll go ahead and snip, and boom, just like that, our graphics card is now installed. Now Jackson's gonna show you how to do a little bit of cable management in the back, and then from there, we're ready to get things set up to game.
All right, guys, so we're gonna do some cable management now, and it's gonna be pretty easy in this case because we really don't have a ton of cables. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just kind of bunch these together, and as long as our back panel has a little bit of extra room, we'll hopefully be able to actually get it to go down flat, but we may have to have a 2 people on deck job for that.
Or one Jonah, because he built different.
Jonah. He could sit on it. I always tell people this, but I like to leave the basement a little bit uncable managed, just to make it to where if you ever need to upgrade or test parts, you have something go bad, whatever, there's really no reason to cable manage the power supply basement super tighty, because you're never really going to see it anyways. So honestly, this is already looking really good. We just used 4 zip ties, which I think is like a record, but we're going to go ahead, take our flush cutters, and we're going to snip the excess length, and boom. That looks pretty good to me, guys. So now I'm just going to go ahead and get the side panel on, and then we need to see if this thing actually turns on.
All right, guys, we're ready to turn this on, but wait, why is this still here? Okay, guys, let's go ahead and turn it on for the first time and see if it works.
All right, so we got our power switch on the power display on. Press the button.
Hey.
So we're in business. The
You know the
RGB
LED
switch,
button,
yeah, it's
yeah.
on the back.
So you do boop, boop, and
It
there's the
works.
real RGB. Nice.
Hey, that's looking pretty good. So hopefully we get some good temps in this thing. We'll have to throw the side panel on along with the back panel so we get full test results, but it's time to put this thing through some gaming benchmarks.
Let's game.
All right, guys, we are getting ready to deploy into the Warzone 3.0, I think this one's called. And we're currently at full screen 1080p, and we're running a balanced preset with AMD FSR 3.0, which just recently came out. And we have found that you get some insane FPS numbers running this upscaling method.
And even with an i3, we're getting really crazy numbers right now. Almost 200 FPS, 1080p high refresh rate. So, you know, maybe Warzone's easy to run now. I guess we really need to test this on like old computers, but I think FSR 3 is rated for like this generation of GPU and beyond. So
this is a great comparison for the console plebs out there. Now we're finally getting to the point where we can show you a build that's similar price to a console using the same type of upscaling that they're using to get some epic FPS.
300 FPS confirmed.
Sky test? Let us find a good spot to land. How do I ping?
Ping, ping.
Sky test? It doesn't count, I guess. Ocean
Floor test.
I mean, hey, we're getting close to 200. Who would have thunk you could do some high refresh rate on this, some really high refresh rate? You know, they would have seen me like on the map and been like, oh, above you, right above you. Yeah, I somehow did not see that guy. What is he doing? Besides dying.
Hey.
This guy also down to
Yeah,
the
saw
left. Why is this dude just up here? What's he doing?
Oh.
Oh, God.
No. Oh. No shot that they tried pushing that.
Let me inside. I'm so scared.
Let me go after those arm plates. If there's some up there.
Armor plates?
There they are. Oh. He's been droned!
Oh, this is bad.
Got him. Oh, found him. Oh.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, dude, really? Brother. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Why did I pull out that pistol?
Hey. There it is. Get him. Hey.
Oh.
Ow.
You butthead.
Oh, come on. No shot. Yes!
No! No!
Oh, that's
They
it.
finally got us. Well, hey, I mean, on a $600 build, that felt pretty competitive. Let's go ahead and test out another game.
Let's go. All right, guys, we are now in Fortnite at 1080p, unlocked frame rate DX12, and on performance settings, far view distance, low textures, no upscaling. We're running 100% render scale. What's wrong with the battle bus? What the hell is this? Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but hey, Fortnite. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and drop in the Fortnite now. This is definitely going to be the game, and you're seeing it right now, that 12100F, where we're going to see an i3 bottleneck us a little bit. Now, it's not to the point where this is an unplayable experience, in my opinion. If you're someone who's like a frame chaser and wants to get like 200 plus FPS in games like Fortnite on lower settings, you're probably going to want to step up to either the i5 12400, or you could follow our build guide that we did with the 7500F to get you into 7000 series Ryzen. It doesn't mean this won't be playable. As you can see, we're still getting really good FPS numbers. What are you doing? Okay. I don't know what they were doing there. Oh! How did I choke that? Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh, that was horrible. What's the game plan there, buddy? This is also a great example of playing Fortnite and running the second game back after your first drop. Things load in so much better. Oh! Dang. Hey, you know what? I got sniped in the head, is what it is. Oh, I got sniped from behind. Oh, damn, it wasn't even them. Anywho, performance, pretty good, 100 plus FPS. Now, what we're going to do is run some more demanding games. We're going to run some Spider-Man Miles Morales. We're going to run some Cyberpunk. And I do want some suggestions in the comments down below. Towards this outro section, we're going to try to showcase just a few clips here and there of some more demanding games. If there's any other games you want to see us test here on the channel, let us know down below. Let's go ahead and move on to those games and that 30 Mark Time Spy score and wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, this PC performed absolutely amazing for that $600 price point. This one was more of a meta build, going with some of the best bang for buck parts, and we were able to play AAAs and esports at pretty respectable settings 1080p.
In terms of the higher end games that we tested, we did test Cyberpunk. He got an average of 81 FPS at 1080p medium settings using no FSR. We also went into Spider-Man Miles Morales. He got an average of 80 plus FPS, 1080p medium settings with no FSR as well. And of course, we ran 3D Mark Time Spy and got a score of 7,579, which is an 8 cent per point score, which again, here on the channel, we like to see 10 cents or less for good price performance builds. And this one for $600 definitely does it.
So once again guys, this is a giveaway PC right here, hand built by the Toasty Bros. So you can go and buy one of the PCs at PCBros.tech, but if you just want to spend no money at all, make sure you check out twitch.tv/ToastyBros. We're also now streaming on Toasty Clips on YouTube as well.
And of course, you're watching this in the future and there's none available on PC Bros and you missed this giveaway, you can build it yourself by using those affiliate links down below. But don't worry, every single month we give away a gaming PC over on twitch.tv/ToastyBros, so be sure to go follow and take a look at the next giveaway.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
So once again, guys, these PCs will be available at PCBros.tech. We always know that you guys love the giveaway PCs, but there's only one, so we like to give you guys multiple chances to buy one as well.
These PCs at PCBros.tech, and you can buy one today. Use code ToastyBros and check out, save 2% on your next purchase, get a 1-year warranty, and also browser inventory, a bunch of other awesome gaming laptops and high-end PCs. See you guys later. Goodbye.